Hello everyone. In this video we are going to discuss the numerical from your unit number 1, that is vector analysis, and this numerical is basically related with vector algebra. So we are going to solve this numerical, and if you have any queries you can drop me a mail onto my this email ID. So we will begin with what is given to us. Okay, so we will write what are the given parameters and what is to be found out. Okay, so we are given with this vector g, that is equals to 24 xy square ax cap plus 12 into x square plus z ay cap plus 18 z square az cap, and we have been given with point P and point Q having some coordinates. So what is to be find out? So very firstly they have asked what is vector g at given point P. So this is very much simple. Simply you just have to write what is the your given vector g. So we have that given vector g is equals to what? Again I am rewriting this one, 24 x square, sorry, xy square ax cap plus 12 x square plus z into ay cap plus 18 z square az cap. So this is what is your given vector az. Now the thing is that we have to find out what is its value at point P. So this is your vector g and we have to find out what is its value at point P. So we have the coordinates of point P, that is 1, -2 and 1. So simply we just have to put the values of that x, y and z of point P within the given vector. So what is the x value that we have? So what is over here? 24xy square. So what is the x value that we have? So we have the x equals to 1. So put that x as 1. Now we have the next thing, that is y square. So y square is what? We have the value of y to be -2 and its square. Now this ax cap will be as it is over here plus this 12. Now next is what? We have that x square. So again, what is the value of x over here? We have that to be 1. So that will be 1 square plus z. So what is the value of that z? We have that z to be -1. Then its component, that is ay cap plus 18z square. So what is the value of the z that we have? We have the z to be -1 square and this component, that is az cap. Now simply we just have to solve this one so that you will get the vector g at given point P. So if you simplify that one, so answer will be, very first term will be 96 ax cap plus it will be 12 ay cap. You can re-verify it plus this -1 square, so that will be +1 into this 18, so that will be 18 az cap. So this is what your given vector g, where it is at point P having coordinates 1, -2 and 1. So this is the very first part of our numerical. We have found what is the value of that vector g at point P. Okay. Now we will move on to the second part of the numerical. Now within the second part of the numerical, if you see, we have to find out what is unit vector along vector g but at point Q. So in the very first part we have found out what is the value of vector g at point P by putting the values of that coordinates of point P within the given vector. Now in the second part what we have to do? We have to put the values of that point Q within your given vector g. So we are going to do that one. So again we are going to rewrite that given vector g. So what is your given vector g? We have this vector g. Now we are going to put the values of that vector g at point Q. And what are the coordinates of that point Q? So we are given with the coordinates of point Q as 3, -1 and 2. Now you just simply put the values of that x, y and z in your given vector. So what is the value of that x for point Q? So that is your 3. Then value of that y is what? So that is -1 square over here, since it is xy square. This ax cap will be as it is, plus this 12 into your this term. So that is what? X square. So x square, so x value we have that to be 3. So it will be 3 square plus z. So z we have 2. See, my handwriting is not as good as yours, so please adjust with that one. So this is ay cap. Now we have that 18z square. So we have the z value to be 2 square over here, az cap. Now if you simplify this equation, so you will find the very first term to be 72 ax cap plus 132 ay cap plus 72 az cap. So this is what? This is your given vector G at point Q, having coordinates to be 3, -1 and 2. Okay, so this is very first part of this numerical. Now what we have to find out? We have to find out unit vector. So from the definition of unit vector, what we have? So unit vector of any given vector. So here in this case, that vector is what? Given vector is your G. Sorry. So unit vector of any given vector is equals to your given vector, that is vector G, divided by magnitude of that given vector. So this is your vector G again. Magnitude of vector G. Okay. Now we have the vector G at point Q. We have the vector G at point Q. So this value we are going to put. So your vector G at point Q is what? 72 ax cap, that we have found just now. 72 ax cap plus 132 ay cap plus 72 az cap. So this is your given vector divided by its magnitude. So what will be the magnitude? So very first, this 72 square, it will be what now? It will be 132 square plus this 72 square over here. That too in the square root, so that we can find out its magnitude. Now simplify this equation. Now if you simplify that one, so you will find either way you can go step by step, or if you are enough expert you can have that calculations. So depending on your practice you can go with that one. So for making it easy, I am rewriting it for you. 72 ax cap plus 132 ay cap plus this 72 az cap divided by this square root, sorry, this is z, so this is 72 az cap divided by this square root value. So if you simplify that one, that value comes out to be 166.70. 166.70. Now have that division over there. So this is what is your given vector, unit vector along vector G, where at point Q. So if you simplify that one, so you will find that answer to be 0.4319 x cap plus 0.7918 ay cap plus 0.4319 az cap. So this is your given vector, unit vector along vector G at point Q. So this is the answer for your second part of the numerical. Okay. So we will now move on to the third part of the numerical. Now in the third part of the numerical, we have to find out what is unit vector directed from point Q towards point P. So this is very much simple if you have solved the previous examples. So again, we are going to rewrite what is to be found out over here. In order to find out unit vector directed from point directed from point Q towards point P, we have to write the respective position vectors for your point P and point Q. So we are given with this coordinate, point P is given with the coordinate 1, -2 and 1. So what will be this position vector? So its position vector will be your ax cap, this -2. So this 1, -2 and 1 represents the magnitude along the direction of x, y and z. So this is what? This is one x cap. Now it will be what now? So this will be your -2 ay cap, and ultimately you will have that to be +1 az cap. So we are not going to write that one since it is associated with magnitude of 1. Now what will be the position vector of point Q? So position vector of point Q, in similar fashion we can write that to be 3ax cap minus ay cap plus 2 az cap. So these are the two position vectors that we have. Now we are going to uh, find out what is the distance vector, since we have to find out the unit vector directed from point Q to point P. So that is nothing but what? That is the distance vector. Distance vector, what it should be? So it will be the distance vector RQP, because distance vector is what? You see, if you are quite confused with this one, so always keep in mind your one position vector is started and it is ending at some another vector. So this is what? So this is your final point, and in order to write that distance vector, what should be your? So this should be your position vector of that final point, that is vector RP here in this case, minus its initial point. So where it have been started? It have been started from point Q. So what it will be? So it will be vector RQ. So this is how we are going to write the distance vectors in between the given two position vectors. Now what we have for that vector RP? We have the position vector RP to be what? Ax cap minus 2 ay cap plus az cap, and we have to subtract your position vector for your point Q. So what is that? So that is 3ax cap minus ay cap plus 2 az cap. So if you perform some mathematical operations onto that one, you will find that to be this ax minus 3. So 1 minus 3 will be what now? We will have that value to be minus 2 ax cap minus 2 minus of plus 1. So that will be what now? So that will be minus of ay cap, and this plus 1 minus a plus 2. So that will be what now? So it will be again minus of az cap. So this is what? Your distance vector RQP, which have been directed from point Q towards point P. But we have to find out what? We have to find out the unit vector which have been directed from point Q to point P. So from the definition of your basic unit vector, what we have? So unit vector which have been directed, or of this unit vector of your distance vector QP is what now? It will be your given vector RQP divided by the magnitude of that given vector RQP. Okay, so we have the value for that distance vector RQP to be minus 2ax cap minus ay cap minus az cap divided by the magnitude of that distance vector QP. So that is what? Minus 2 square plus minus 1 square plus minus 1 square again. Now simplify that one. If you have done enough practice, it will be easier for you. Okay, fine. So if you simplify that one, I am not simplifying it into the details. Well, I hope you know about that one. So unit vector directed from point Q to point P will be of this much value, minus 0.8164 x cap minus 0.4082 ay cap minus 0.4082 z cap. So this is your answer. That gives you the unit vector which have been directed from point P towards point Q. Okay. So you can appreciate my efforts by hitting the like button and sharing it among your friends. So this is the end of your this numerical. Thank you.